hello, Lourandi. How are you today? Fabulous to see you.
Hello, Belinda. I'm very well. Fabulous to see you too.
Awesome. Okay, so I was just joking with Lourandi off camera, and we were just saying that if ever there was a person that personifies to me not only why I started these crucial COVID conversations, but also why there is so many stories and such inspirational messages that's out there that we need to put on this platform, we need to share so that people can learn and also embrace. And I'm not being disrespectful because I know COVID is very hard for a lot of people, me included, but embrace the challenges and actually just use it to diversify ourselves or our businesses. If ever there was somebody that personifies this, it is this lovely lady, Lourandi Kriel. And where are you calling from today? I didn't even actually touch base. I mean, are you in Joburg at the moment? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm calling from Joburg. Recently moved back into my property that I was busy selling mid last year, but luckily decided on a whim not to go through with it. So tenants are moved out. I'm back in. No furniture, but here I am.
Oh, that's funny. And another thing, it just shows you how sometimes things just work out the way they should, right? It didn't sell, and here you are back. And that is exactly part of this fabulous, unbelievable, absolutely inspirational journey, Lourandi, that you have gone through last year. And we're going to share that a little bit later. But I am going to quickly share with the people listening how we met. And actually, I was trying to think about how many years ago that was now. That was probably seven years ago now already. Can it be? Wow. Yes.
Yes.
So I was on the recipient end of this beautiful interview with yourself and some other people at the company that you were, I think, CFO at the time, right? And it was a lovely interview, and it was, if I didn't leave overseas, I'm sure you and I would have actually worked together. It was such a great company, and I was so privileged to be able to chat to you. So that's how we met, and we just connected instantly. We have some other mutual friends, and we stayed in touch all of this time. And Lourandi was supposed to come and visit me last year in the Solomons, and she was supposed to come and dive with me, but it never happened. Thank you, COVID. But she's going to share that story as well, and she's going to tell us all about what she did last year. But I'm going to take 2 minutes and maybe just quickly try and do your amazing career justice. I'm sure I'm going to mess it up, but you must jump in and tell me where I've missed something. But Lourandi, not only are you an absolutely super inspiring, female empowered individual that I am just in awe when I see some of the stuff that you do, and you've got such amazing new projects that you do, but you have also done phenomenal stuff for the industry in South Africa. So you are not only passionate about business, but also about human potential within the organizations. And I find that very inspiring. And perhaps that's why we connect so much, because of my HR and you with, a little bit of that, but also with the strong finance background, which I know nothing about. So it's just an awesome connection. So you are a certified chartered accountant, of course, a NeuroLeadership Coach, and you hold an MBA from none other than GIBS, excuse me. You're also an experienced CEO, CFO across multiple industries and many countries. And you've led and supported various size organizations and leaders in the pursuit of excellence. I love that. And I want to almost end there because that's just the best place to end. I mean, you've done amazing stuff, and people that's just tuning in and listening and learning about who you are and what this crucial COVID conversation is all about. Well, it's about not just who you are as an inspiring individual, but also about your incredible story, and a crucial COVID conversation story indeed. So I'm going to ask you, Lourandi, the first question to me is, tell me who you are and, what gets you out of bed every day. And please fill in anything that I've missed in your bio and share with us.
Okay, thank you, Belinda. But I think you have done my intro justice, and I'll copy and paste it for when people ask me, tell me a bit about yourself. But I think all I'll add is I love traveling. I'm an explorer and a lifelong learner at heart. I love learning new stuff. I've been to like 44 countries. I like collecting sunsets. And I'm obsessed about stories about people, about neuroscience, about good coffee, wine. I love skiing. I love diving. And that's the connection we've got. Yes, and I love business. I love building businesses, and I think business are all about the people within. And if you can accelerate and accelerate, scale, and move that forward, it's ultimately good for the economy, it's good for the country, and it's good for all of us within, because and that's something that I'm really passionate about. So I can't add anything else. I don't know. I think one thing I want to add, after you've read my bio, I think one of my mantras in life is, and I say this to a lot of people, that, currently you did say I'm a NeuroLeadership Coach, and I think in these days, the coaching, people don't approach me now for coaching, they actually approach me for mentoring, which is an interesting thing. I think people need, they want to be on a certain career path and whatever, and then they come to me and say, I want to be a coach. And when I have a conversation with them, they actually need of mentoring. And I do think it's because we don't connect at the office with people. We don't see our leaders that often. And then I say to them, and they tell me about themselves and why they want to be a CEO, or why they want to be a CFO, or own their own business. And sometimes people want to do it for the, I want to say, the glitz and the glam, which is actually not so glitzy and glammy. To be a CEO is, in my experience, not glamorous. And I said, it's great to want to be accomplished or be accomplished, but I also think do that, but be humble and kind. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. There are so many tidbits as well, and I think you and I have to hold each other accountable, because you and I will probably be able to talk for hours. Because anytime you say something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a discussion point. I want to talk more about this, and because we're so much on the same page, and we really have a passion for a lot of the same things. And so, two things that I want to say on that. I absolutely agree. I think it is really essential for people right now to have somebody to hold their hand. And this is how I describe it very often to people wanting to do that coaching. And you are right. It's almost evolved from, I'm going to be your coach and help you develop and become a better leader, or become a better CFO or HR, whatever, as opposed to, I just want somebody to just bounce ideas off. I want somebody to just, if I'm feeling down, I don't have that support in my current structure within the organization or within my own business, but I want somebody to just almost just hold my hand and just be there. So it's evolved from the coaching, some of the harder or some of the softer hard skills, as opposed to just having a mentor there, somebody just to have their back and somebody to understand, and somebody can now just understand and share and realize it's okay not to be okay right now. And here in this space, you are safe. We have the space, we can talk. And pretty much with the crucial COVID conversations, Lourandi, we want to start creating that culture and start making people be okay with the fact that it's okay not to be okay. And part of what we're doing right now is we're putting these topics out for people to talk about and for people to understand and change the culture. I'm back in South Africa right now, and we were joking off camera a little bit about this, but the culture here can be very hard. And historically speaking, we don't have the culture that embraces and is completely open to mental health and well-being at work. It's something that we don't talk about. You can't say that you're depressed. You can't say you had burnout. You can't say that you're struggling with this, especially for the men in South Africa. It's hard. And I want to start, helping people to put these discussions out on the table. And if anything, COVID has given us this platform, this wonderful platform that hopefully we can never go back to where we were. We can only progressively move forward and unpack these topics. Hey, what do you think about that?
I absolutely 100% agree with you, Belinda. I think that I've shared with you off camera earlier. I mean, I've had burnout, and it's something that for years, not for years, but I share it with my close people. And I've shared with you that a client asked me to do something on their once a month this company have this day for the employees and share my burnout story with them. It's a financial account, it's a cash flow and a budgeting engagement, but now they've added that on top. And I struggled with initially accepting it because I was like, oh, now I'm going to put my story out there in the world. I don't know who's going to listen to on the other end, because I don't know everybody that's working at this company. If they share it, you feel a bit like, oh, we are so in love with being busy and being productive and being, I think we idolize that. And I'm guilty. Don't get me wrong. I love being, I want to feel that I contribute, and I cause my burnout myself. It's something intrinsic in me that drives me, but I did not know how to set boundaries. I did not know how to navigate. I, at the time, before I almost totally just could not function, I couldn't, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. And I grew up in an Afrikaner home, went to school where, you don't say, you're not okay. You don't say, I've got stuff going on, or, it's really hard for us. And I've been through the journey, so it's easier for me. But people in the beginning of that journey, they don't know how to navigate. And I think the other thing I've realized is, I went to a doctor in 2017 for I thought I was depressed. So let's start there. I thought I was depressed. A friend of mine actually told me she thinks I've got burnout. And she gave me a number of a doctor. So I went to the doctor and I said to her, listen, I'm very busy. I travel around the world for business. Every 2 weeks I'm in another country. I need pills to cope with my lifestyle and not to feel so depressed. Also, with my burnout, I canceled my wedding two months before the date. So lots of emotional things that I never dealt with. I went on with life. Anyway, and she looked at me and she said to me, okay, fill out this form. And I think it's a standard form they depressed people fill out. And she looked at it and she says, you're not depressed. So I'm like, I know I'm depressed. I know I don't feel like I used to feel.
Yes.
And I don't jump out of bed anymore. I'm tired all the time. I can't sleep. I'm just picking up weight. And she just looked at me. She said, you have extreme adrenal fatigue. So I was like, what does that even mean?
Sounds fancy. Yeah, what is it?
What does it mean? So what, can you fix it? So she said, no, I can, but it's going to take 2 years. Yeah. And I was like, 2 years?
I don't have that time.
And you need to commit to this journey. And I was like, oh my goodness. Anyway, so I was just going to cut it short. And I felt like myself. That's 2017. I felt like myself the first time again, somewhere in 2019. And I can actually remember the day when I went to a wedding and I was dancing and I felt just that my own energy again. When you dance, you feel on top of the world, and I'm back. And and lots of people, and the point I want to make is lots of people do not know they have that
difference. Yeah.
And after that, I can see it in people. So I've seen it in a lot of friends, people I meet, those people you meet and then they just go on about their bad boss and their bad company. And, you're like, oh, I'm just having coffee to get to know you. I just really I'm not into that stuff, but okay. And then after, you have to listen. That's also something you learn in coaching, right?
Yes.
You need to listen. And then often I'm like, oh, should I tell this person? Should I, how are they going to act? Because, if you tell people, I think you've got burnout, you need to go for a full blood test to just see how depleted your body is. You don't know how they're going to respond, right? So, but I found in most cases when I tell them through my story, they get better. And I've got a lot, mostly in my group of friends, where they tell me lots of times, thank you so much for pointing that out. I was about to divorce my husband. I was about to leave actually a great job. I've learned so much about myself. I've gone on this journey. So it is something that you need people to identify with. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if you do not, the last point I want to make is if you do not address it. So and this is what I tell people, if you don't address burnout, or you don't, not even burnout, before you get to burnout, if you don't prioritize rest, your body, your boundaries, your body is going to decide for you. So burnout is when your body, just the small organs in your body just decides to shut down. Thyroid, adrenal gland, you don't produce iron anymore, calcium, like everything's depleted. And you actually, there's people that can't ever work, can't put on a light, can't dress themselves as a result. So it's something you have to prioritize. And I think with COVID, it's much more, it's much more evident, and people get burnout now more than ever because they're working from home. They do not have boundaries. They're not prioritizing the routines and rituals they used to have. They're just on all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Okay. First of all, whatever you said is awesome. I want to just put it. Secondly, I do want to say, Lourandi, thank you so much for putting it out there for us to learn from your experience, because that is critical. Unless we put it out on the table and people can talk about it and people can hear it, we can't use your story as benefiting others. And I know those things are super important to you as well as they are for me. So I want to acknowledge that, and I want to really thank you for putting it out there and putting your excuse me, your personal story out there for us to hear, to learn from, to identify with, and also to facilitate positive growth and change. So thank you for that. Secondly, I think what you are saying is something that I just want to highlight in terms of the crucial COVID conversations, but more importantly, the crisis. We can't, number one, we can't pour from an empty cup. So your own health and well-being is paramount. I mean, you can't do anything else unless you have looked after who you are, and then you can help other people. And so many of us high flyers like yourself, people that are in senior roles, people that have their own businesses, leaders, managers. I mean, we always look at other people, we help others, but we fail to remember that we are the most important link in this chain. And if we are not healthy and able, we can't do anything for anybody else. You think you can, but you can't, because it's a question of time, as you said, with your body's going to shut down. And I was almost there myself. I have seen it in beautiful close friends of mine that basically they are there now, or they have been there. So I know what you're talking about. And I think with you sharing the information and letting people know what to look out for is already taking a huge burden off, because people can identify. People can also say that, bloody hell, it's okay not to be okay right now. And it's okay to actually put it out there. It's okay to talk about this. And for me right now, what I'm trying to do with this crucial COVID conversations is, once as you know, better than I do probably, once the mind has expanded with more information, a new idea, a different take on things, a different understanding, you can never go back to where it was. And for us, during this crucial COVID conversations and during this crisis, we are learning things and we are seeing things with the great pause that we should never go back to. And it's our responsibility, it's us. We need to make that decision. We are all in it together, and we can all make a change, and we all have the responsibility to change. So let's make choices, better choices that's there for the greater good, for the survival of humanity, for us as people. Let's make those changes right now. Make sure that when we do make a decision, and when the world does return to a different normality, that we won't make this terrible decisions, or we won't judge, or we won't not be kind to people's emotional health and wellness and well-being as well, right? Okay.
You are your most valuable investment, and that's something I've learned. Is if you're not going to invest in yourself, nobody else will. So, it's good to invest in your relationships, it's good to invest in your marriage, but you are your most important investment and most valuable. Yeah. And when you invest in yourself, your return on investment will be great. So, anyway.
Yeah, you're all about finance. I love those terms. I mean, I got it. And it is so, so true. Okay, well, I want to do it now because I am mindful of the time, and I know you and I will get carried away forever. So I am going to do it right now because this is actually why I wanted, not because of all the other stuff, because that's also cool, but right now I wanted to hear your amazing COVID story. So I just want to quickly say this, Lourandi, you've faced extreme challenges during last year in every single way, shape, and form. You know, it puts everybody, puts my experiences, and I thought I had a cool story, but it puts it to shame because your story is just, it's about resilience, it's about courage, it's about coming back from challenges and embracing it and finding beautiful, inspirational avenues to guide and dictate your decisions and where you go in your life. So please tell me in your own words. Oops, I lost you for a second. And with as much or as little detail as you want to, your COVID story of 2020. Ta-da-da, drum roll.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell it like a story.
Yes, please. I love stories.
I've told it so many times. I feel like, oh, it's a bit I want to say boring, but it's yeah. So in October 2020, I was at a point in my life where I am a finance professional at that time for 14 years, seven years as a hands-on operational CFO. I was transforming businesses in the pursuit of excellence, because that's all I do. I love, like, I need to leave people and places in a better state than I got them. I'm fascinated about what makes businesses succeed. And at that time, you know, I've kind of, as a CFO, I've done a lot, I've accomplished a lot. And my natural progression would have been to eventually go into a CEO role. But obviously, you know, you see CEOs as these old people that, you know, so it wasn't a thought. It was just like, I'm an operational CFO. I'm very happy. I was at a great tech company called Incuba. They do customer experience technology. I really loved it. But you know, I've done what I've done, and I've been blessed, like you said about my career, and I've really been blessed with amazing opportunity. Hard work pays off, and that brings opportunity, I believe.
Exactly. I agree.
So anyway, so it was the 14th of October 2020, and I just came back from a magical trip to Morocco with my best high school.
Was that 2020 or 2019?
2019, sorry.
Okay, I was just going to say, I mean, 2020 doesn't count.
2019, sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
All a blur.
2020 is a blur.
Anyway, so October 2019, I've come back from Morocco with my friend. I just had this amazing trip. And I was invited for a cup of tea with a guy called Zach Lister. He's call it flamboyant. He's got this personality, very successful businessman from South Africa. He founded Crux, that is now in, gosh, I think 23, 24 countries. Listed company, hugely successful. You know, he's a celebrated entrepreneur. Very charismatic. Anyway, I'm sitting in his office. I'm having a cup of rooibos tea, just to, like, a chat. Like, the guy that set this up said he just wants to chat with me. Anyway, and I'm sitting there and we're chatting about life and family and just travel, and he tells me he wants me to join his company as a CEO of the Philippines entity.
Wow.
So I was like, like I couldn't. I was like, I'm not sure if I could, you know, it wasn't something I didn't expect it wasn't, but it was a natural progression. And I was like excited for the opportunity to be, you know, to run a company. I didn't know how hard it is. You know, as a CFO, you look at the CEO and the funds, like, oh, I could do a better job. I think everybody in the company is doing these things. I could do a better job than that CEO, you know, and me as a CFO also thought sometimes, I think I can make better decisions. Or
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was so excited. But then he said it's in the Philippines. I was like, Philippines? I knew nothing about the Philippines other than I wanted to travel there to go lie on the island and drink cocktails.
And go dive.
So that terrified me. That really terrified me. I was like, Southeast Asia, you know, I've been to Thailand, I've traveled a bit, you know, my life, Vietnam, you know, some Asian countries I like, some I really don't like. China. So I was like, and I've worked with my previous experience. I have been to Asian countries for work and have worked with Asian people, and I was like, you know, the experience is a hit and miss. Sometimes it's really difficult, and sometimes the people are lovely. You don't know. So I thought, no, okay, I'm going to jump to this opportunity. Little did I know, the Philippines have like 110 million people. It's huge. The Philippines look like the speck on a map. It's huge. I mean, it takes 2 hours to fly from between the 3 capital cities, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. The 3 island groups. Anyway, packed up, ready. I signed in November 2019. Was very sad to leave my old company people. And I think it came as a shock to my family and friends. I mean, it was October, November I'm signing, December I'm packing up my life. And I am a bit OCD, and you know, I'm a what they call a red personality on inside. So I like to plan, and I have my stuff in order, which COVID taught me to
I was just going to say.
COVID taught me right down to earth, back to earth. So I plan, and I'm like, okay, this is a 5-year thing, and I'm going to go there, maybe meet the man of my dreams, get married, live this expat life with his little expat children, running this company, growing, and this is now like, I'm so excited. So January 2020, I get on a plane to Asia, and I've flown Emirates, I mean, countless times. For business, for pleasure, for whatever. I've never been delayed, ever. Even I can't 10 years or whatever. There's never been an Emirates flight that's ever been delayed. I'm sitting there. Look, it was a rush. Like, I literally packed my last stuff for shipping, and then I already had to be on the airport. Anyway, and I'm sitting there. They say the flight is delayed. I said, oh, okay. They don't know about how much, but you know, we must just sit in the lounge and wait. So that was the day when Dubai or the UAE flooded. It had the most rain in 25 years.
Yes, I remember that.
So with Ocean Basket, where I met you, I've actually traveled to Dubai quite often. And I was like, Dubai flooded? Been there, I can't even, like multiple times. And it's hot. I mean, flood. I couldn't, it was just, I remember sitting in the lounge and thinking, this is going to be an unusually interesting year. If it's starting like this.
Little did you know.
Little did I know. Yes, little did I know. So then I arrived in Asia. And when I arrived in the Philippines, firstly, I have checked with the company about my visa, and they were always like, don't stress, you know, you get there, you're going to get it, you give your passport, everything's arranged. Okay, so little did I know how unorganized this company actually is on an HR front. I mean, it's actually, so given my passport, very happy, you know, I'm in a hotel for just until I can get a visa, rent a property, whatever. So my visa comes back declined. So my long-term work visa.
Ish.
And the reason is the company's governance wasn't in order. So then I had to start that process of getting the company's governance in order so that they can actually employ expats. Because it's not just any company in the world can't just employ foreigners. There's actually rules. Now, the first thing about having no visa, so I was there on a short-term visa, which, I mean, it's a 21-day validity at the time. If you don't have a work visa, and you'll know this from living in the Solomon, is no visa means no bank account, means you can't get paid a salary, no money, You can't rent.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do Airbnb in the Philippines. In Singapore, for example, Airbnb is illegal. So anyway, so I was like, okay, my life's packed up in South Africa, like literally, my properties are on the market, my stuff is ready to be shipped, it's at the shipping liner. I have my bag with me. So, you know, I'm ready to rock and roll this company in the Philippines. I'm going to make it work. Like, I'm going to see what I need to do to make it work. I'm going to put on my entrepreneurial hat. I'm going to be super agile. So I'm just like, that's just what I'm going to do to navigate this. So at the time, no signs of COVID, obviously. And I was like, it's going to mean multiple visa runs. So that's okay. The head office, the company, so this is in South Africa, but it's got an Asian head office in Singapore. And from the founder and the CEO that interviewed me, he said, okay, you know, you'll just do visa runs until everything's in place. I'm like, sharp, I'm there. Okay, so, and I'm like, we need to just sort out the salary thing, but okay. So I'm like, sorry?
No, I was just laughing about your story. It's awesome.
And I'm like, okay. So I start, you know, as any leader or manager in a company do or should do, is you look at this company, you look at what happened. So this company was started at the time 6 years ago, had very poor in-country leadership. So it hasn't actually gained any momentum. So Crux in Thailand is big, South Africa is big, the other Asian countries is picking up, but the in-country management team wasn't great. And yeah, so it was kind of a blah. You know, clients was cancelling before, like while I was flying, staff was just resigning. Like I started having heart palpitations on the flight. I'm like, oh, 3 people resigned this morning. I haven't even started. So yes, so I was kind of given this company, but excited. And I looked at the company and I had this plan. I had like my 100-day plan, which you'll read about a lot about. But now I think you need a 1,000-day plan. But anyway, 100-day plan, got my strategy, it's looking great, started to implement, like, because I am a hit the ground running type of person. I don't sit and I just start. So gained great momentum in February, sales started picking up, I started stabilizing the teams. Obviously as a CEO, you have to look literally at everything. And because there were so many resignations, I literally interviewed from the fitter that's fitting the GPS right through to my sales executive. 9 interviews a day, sometimes, yeah. So I got the team in place. We retrained old staff. We got rocks on new people. I found them a new office, started building them a new office. So as a team and as the business started moving forward with the right direction, people were confident, we were excited. And then 12 March 2020, and this is a date and a night I will never forget, actually. It's a Thursday evening. I was living in a hotel right opposite our office, and I was, you know, when you start working, and I did speak about burnout and boundaries, but I mean, if you have the type of position and you have so much to do, you just kind of, the first 6 months, I think, is a constant 24 hours, just, you know, getting stuff in order. So I'm sitting in my bed this evening, I'm busy working in the hotel room, and this representative from the Philippines announces a complete hard military lockdown. And I'm sitting there looking at the TV, it's translated because he's speaking in Tagalog. And I'm like, okay, but bear in mind, then lockdowns wasn't common. Countries was not in lockdown. So all of a sudden, my phone rings off the hook. My colleagues are sending me messages. They're like disbelief, despair, they're unsure, they don't know what to do next.
Wow.
And then now they're asking me, the foreigner, the expat, but they're like 3 minutes, almost 3 months, but 3 minutes I thought, what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've been living here all your life, go and figure it out, you know. But unfortunately, you know, like leaders, we can't do that.
Yeah.
We can't just People are looking at you and they're like, so I think one thing I read once is that great leaders, they keep perspective, that they remain calm, they keep clarity, and even if there's a storm. Now, never mind the fact that you're soaking wet, your hair's like all over the place, you're a mess, but as a leader, that is your role. Okay?
Yeah.
You need to pull people together and move the ship forward. So I just calmly told everybody to be in the office the next day, and I will share with them my the strategy for the what next. I had no clue. No clue what to do. I was like, okay, be in the office tomorrow. I've got a strategy. You be there. And I had no freaking clue. That evening, I did not sleep. But I went to the office very calmly, very confidently, and said to them, okay, we have to issue everybody with laptops. In the Philippines, a lot of people still work on desktops. Text is still manual, written in a ledger. So the Philippines is really third world in terms of they've got great people, but they are third world in terms of a lot of things. So everybody got a laptop. Internet, there's a problem. So actually we work off SIM cards. So our business is, run off SIM cards. So I made sure everybody has a company phone. Everybody has some form of data tool to be connected to the internet.
That's
and then
good.
I said, okay, I'll just pray for the best. You go. And, I'm going to pray for the best. So then on a personal note, on the same day, I actually was flying out to Cebu, the other island group too, because we have 3 head offices in Philippines, in each island group. So I was going to fly to Cebu because my short-term visa was about to expire. So I had to get out of the country as well. So I went to Cebu, and then from Cebu I would have flown to Singapore, visit the office and fly to Singapore. And so I was like, at the time I phoned the office, the head office, and I said, listen, HR, just guidance, please. So they were like, oh no, they don't know, they don't have a disaster recovery plan. I was like, oh, okay. They're like, yeah, you think what you need to do, you just share it with us. I'm like, okay, I've been here 3 minutes, but cool, I'll do that. But I do think, not to negate from them, is that I think a lot of companies at the time was caught, with their pants down, even if they had great paper strategy. I mean, nobody could plan for this.
Exactly.
Anyway, so we decided that I will fly to Singapore for my visa run, and it was very unlikely that Singapore, highly unlikely actually, that Singapore would ever go into lockdown. And we thought, okay, 2 to 3 weeks, Philippine lockdown will be over, I'll be back. And then the 2 to 3 weeks, I'll work with the founder and I'll work with the head office team that's sitting in Singapore, because I'm also new and I haven't had any training. So it's good to spend time with, with especially the founder and the other guys on the team. So that's what we thought. So I'm there working, enjoying Singapore, going to the botanical gardens, and great city.
It is a great city, yeah.
And amazing. I mean, I'm not gonna sidetrack now, but Singapore was amazing.
I agree.
Then it's April 2020, April 2020. So I arrived in Singapore on the 16th of March 2020, on my birthday, very, very ironically. So now it's April, and Singapore goes into lockdown. And I'm in a hotel. First, I was in a hotel. It's like rent by the hour hotel, because in Singapore you can live everywhere. It's clean. It's white bedding.
Yeah.
I moved into another hotel so that I can actually have a desk, because this first hotel had no space. So literally, it's one of those, if you've been to Singapore, the space is tiny. You roll out of bed, you're in your bathroom, then you just roll out of bed. Out of the hotel. So now I went to like a better one that has a desk and there's space to walk and a bathroom and whatever. So now I'm in lockdown, and for 2 months all the facilities are closed. in the hotel. So I basically, for 2 months, I was in my hotel room in lockdown, which, you know, was an interesting experience, being 2 months with yourself, running a company remotely. So I had a screen where I was, you know, all the time communicating with my team as if I was there. I built a office for the team through lockdown. And because the thing is, for me, I just didn't want to lose that momentum. And so I decided that we're all going to be positive. We're all going to just drive this way. So when lockdown lifts, it's just, you know, you just go on the momentum. You're not going to lose that. But yeah, I had to eat Food Panda and grab food all the time, because there's no, I mean, a hotel room has a kettle and it's got a mini ball fridge. The hotel doesn't stock it. So, and then, you know, once a week or so, you can go and buy groceries. And I have actually not been able to return to the Philippines. It hasn't been open. I came back to South Africa from Singapore end of last year in December. But it's just, so I've lived in Singapore without planning to live there, with one suitcase, which have taught me that you actually don't need that much, actually.
Exactly. I agree.
Stuff drags you down. It's literally, I've lived out of one suitcase. I have moved almost every single month, because it's hotels, and Singapore is a hell of an experience. So, you know, when they think they're opening, the hotels are pushing their rates up, and I'm moving to one in my budget. Then it was a service department, and I ended up for the last few months sharing 2 different houses with other expats, which is I was 37 years old. I remember, with my bag, my one suitcase. It's been with me the whole year. I'm running a company. I'm CEO of a company. And I arrive in this house that I'm sharing. So I'm like, great. And that's what I tell people that want me to mentor them. They want to have this glitz and glam life. So I say to them, you know what? I was 37 years old. Company, and I moved into digs. You know, it's what it is. Then I have to go and wash my laundry in a public laundry space where you sit and wait with the guys that's paving the streets, building streets, cleaning. You know, those are the guys you sit with and wait for your laundry at the wishy-washy. It's just, you need to cope with it. It's not like you can't go, this is beneath me. I mean, you need to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was my year.
Wow.
I learned a lot of things. I don't know if you want me to go into the learning.
Yes, I want to know what you learned, and then we'll talk about what do you want us to take into the new year before we wrap up. But I want to know what you've learned. I mean, that is an incredible story of resilience. Wow. Tell me what you've learned.
I have learned a lot of things. So the first thing is it's learned and realized. There's lots of these things I know, but the realization just, you know, so the thing of, okay, so I'll share 10 learnings. Okay, but I'll be quick. I'll just summarize them. So the first one is the thing I said about be accomplished, but be humble and kind.
Oh.
My dad used to say to me as a little girl, he used to say to me, don't fly too high, my little bird, the fall will break your neck.
Oh.
And I never really understood that. Like, I was like, what a weird thing to tell your child. But I've realized in 2020 that be humble, be kind, be nice to everybody around you. Because if you have this view of yourself or where you are, like people send me pictures, they say, this is the life of a CEO, and I'm like, no. Yeah, I am washing my washing here with all the, immigrants in Singapore. I'm driving a bike that was borrowed to me by one of my colleagues. It's broken, with my washing bags on the side. So no. So that's the first thing. Be accomplished, be humble and kind. The second thing is, and this morning, before I started speaking to you, I just heard this message again. And that's really something that resonates with me, and in 2020, something I've just realized again is capture your thoughts. So your thoughts, and it's something that, I mean, I don't know, the Bible is, I don't know how many years old, but it's there. It's in neuroscience. It's in coaching. It's, you know, because your thoughts ultimately becomes who you are.
Exactly.
And it affects you in a big way. And, you know, some people say, oh, they want to start being positive. They have all these motivational posters, which helps, doesn't help. So you need to be aware of what you're thinking, capture your thoughts. If they're negative, turn them around positively, and then act in that positive way. Because in neuroscience, they teach us that neurons that fire together wire together. So it's like when you in a grass field and you keep walking this route, that route will be automatic because there will be a path. Very hard to then carve out another route. So capture your thoughts and make sure they're positive. And I mean, I also, when I was 2 months in a hotel by myself in lockdown, and people were posting pictures in South Africa as, oh, lockdown dry, you know, I was like, really? And they were complaining about, you know, not being able to go to this. I'm like,
you have no idea.
Like, I'm in a hotel room. Like that's it. It's a 18 square room. So by the way, 18 squares, you know, this is my life. And there I've learned that if I don't capture my thoughts every day, if I don't make sure that I don't think negative thoughts, I would have become obviously probably depressed. I mean, I think, so my brother went back to Israel now in January. And he's like, oh, 2 weeks in quarantine in the hotel. I'm like,
you know nothing.
No, try 2 months. So that's the first thing. Capture your thoughts, make sure they're positive. That's the second thing. The third thing is adaptive intelligence. Now, this is something I think I shared with you long ago as well. Is I heard this concept of adaptive intelligence. It's psychologists believe there's 4 types of intelligence: IQ, EQ, EQ, and then adaptive intelligence. Now, which is AQ. Now, I believe AQ is the most important intelligence that exists at the moment. Look, I thought it's very important in 2019 as well.
And then 2020 came.
Because the thing about the world around us is rapidly changing. It's speeding up. In 2019 was technology. It was globalized work environments. It was now you're adding 2020. You're adding your whole dynamic of work is changing.
Exactly.
You have a different relationship with your colleagues, with your family. Your work and life is fusing. It's so you need to be adaptable. You need to work on your adaptive intelligence. And if I can explain adaptive intelligence like very basic is, you need to reduce yourself to 0 every single day. I think it was Gandhi or something that said, I need to reduce myself to 0 every day. And that is what adaptive intelligence is. And
powerful.
You need to keep yourself. So if you feel like if you feel like you're resisting, you know, and that comes also with, you know, some people have this they have this friction with the current way we work now. It's like you can't see it, but you feel it.
Yep.
If you're resistant against, you know, the change now, you probably need to work on your growth mindset and your adaptability. And there's ways to do it. I'm not going to go into it. Because if you are going to do what you did in the past, in the future, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
And they are your blind spots for excelling in the future. So adaptive intelligence, very important. Then the fourth thing, I think we spoke about it now off camera earlier, is your leadership style. Now, I think a lot of people have realized that if you're a manager, mid-manager, whatever, if you are responsible for a person in an organization, you have a leadership style or management style, whatever you want to call it. And with the new ways of work, that had to be adapted, right?
Exactly.
So I think for me, it's been really hard building businesses. It's been hard, like getting people together remotely. It's a hard thing, but you need to really spend the time, spend the energy with people, see what works, see what doesn't work, and adapt. So it comes back to adaptability.
Exactly. But yeah.
And look at your leadership style. So if ask people around you, like, what's working for you, what's not working for you. Then think about, why is it not working for you or the people around you. And I think you have to be aware of you working with people online, and because you're not working with them so closely anymore, you know, you can't just go, somebody has a bad day, you pat them on the shoulder and say, are you okay? I mean, you don't have that.
No.
You can't read body language. So as a leader, you need to see how you're going to navigate this. And everybody's different, and, you know, organizations are different. So yeah, do what works for you. What I have found in 2020, and I saw it in my own company, and I saw it in the head office in Singapore, and I've seen it with friends of mine in Singapore. I made new friends in Singapore, which was great, but I saw it in their companies. People default to micromanagement.
Oh, not true.
Yeah. So, and the thing is about micromanagement, you want to be in control. And you can't be. You don't see people. You can't walk around the office and see what people are doing. So I believe now more than ever, you need to be able to set clear direction, clear expectation, and deliver SMART goals. So rather default to managing individuals that is not delivering, by also discovering what works for them. So what I have learned is, working remotely is not for everybody. It's really not for everybody. A lot of people cannot be productive.
Yeah.
And
too hard to manage.
Very hard. And I had to accept that and figure out what's the best way to get the most and the best out of my staff. Now, yeah, as leaders, blanket approach doesn't work. And yeah, I think where I went to more leading by heart, and then I use data to make decisions. Because, you know, the office chit chat is gone, and this one. So now I can look at the data and I can see, okay, you know, that one sales isn't on par, you know. So, and I lead with heart. Just think about the situation people are in, and then I say, okay, you got everybody in the company have freedom in a framework. So I've communicated clearly, I've set clear directions, you know what to deliver. Here's your framework, and you have freedom. But if you don't deliver, you know, there'll be consequences. So now more than ever, I have those hard conversations much quicker, immediately. We, you know, at the office you get busy, you know, like, okay, tomorrow. Now it's like, no. Okay. So that's the other thing. Then the fifth thing is feed your client focus. So I've learned, I mean, I've been a CFO. So 7 years I've been a CFO, and I've been a finance professional for 14 years. Now, I've always been operational. So I've looked after HR teams, I've looked after IT, I've looked after supply chain as a CFO. After revenue, a little bit of sales, I've been involved in sales meetings, but I've never actually ran a whole company, which, like I said earlier, not so easy. But okay, it's doable, but it's not easy. And yeah, and you need to know and acknowledge that as well. But the key thing, you know, I was never as client focused like I am now. I think you need to make sure that your customer satisfaction is on point at the moment. Make sure your customers choose you over and over and over. They have options. They have time to explore. They need to cut somewhere. Okay, so they're not making more money, so they're going to cut expenses. Make sure you are delivering what they're paying for, and know that happy clients don't leave. And more than ever, you have to actively listen and solve your clients' problems and their pain points, because like you, they're also frustrated at work, and they need to show their boss that they deliver on something great. And do this even if it means there's nothing in it for you. So if you have a lead, deliver something for that lead, even if you know that they can't choose you or they can't go with you. You know, just leave them with value. Now more than ever, they will come back. That I've tested it, they will come back. And And then if you have them, make sure they pay, because that's something on the back end. As I always tell business owners, make sure they pay, especially in these times. So focus on your people. There's constraints, business have taken down, but also do it with approach it with a softer aspect, but make sure they pay. Okay.
Yeah, important.
Then the sixth thing is, which you have also said, is it's okay not to be okay. But don't suffer in silence.
Yes.
So the people that has worked for me and the companies I've worked for before, they know this. I say to them, it's okay not to know, and it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
But do not suffer in silence. If you do not tell me, I do not know.
Exactly. I agree.
And if I know, I can help you, I can guide you. If I don't know, I can because I also don't have all the answers. Lots of people think if you run a company you have all the answers. No, you don't.
No.
No, actually you don't. But you can find, I'm resourceful. I can find people.
Exactly. And that's the key, resourceful. You know where to find it.
Yeah. Also when the Philippines went into lockdown, like I said to you earlier, and I had to come up with this plan on what are we going to do. I didn't know, and I'm very honest about it. And I didn't know, but So the other thing with that is, if you're a leader with ego, right? It's hard to ask other people. So I've learned that your ego is not your amigo. So you have to have humility. Ask your staff. Say to them, I don't know what to do. What would you do if you were me? Or I want to do this. What do you think?
Exactly.
And you get input actually from the most unlikely people.
Yeah.
Then you go and say, so as a leader, you need to take the views. You have to ensure you take the views of everybody. You make sure everybody that wants to contribute contributes. And then you take the best and you decide, this is the best, I'm putting this forward. And you have to do that, unfortunately, with a bit of humility, but confidence.
Yeah.
And, you have to just say, everything's going to be okay. This is how we're going to do it. And, it's what you have to do. Game face on, adapt if something doesn't work. Adapt all the time. Don't be married to your views or your beliefs or your plan. Don't be married to your plan. And that's something for me that was great. Getting a plan that's formulated by my team is, I'm not married to it. It's 10 different people's ideas.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work, you go on. Yes. So because leading in COVID, leading, don't feel bad if you don't know or you're struggling or stuff is not working out, because this is not something you can learn. You can't go to university. It's not, it's trial and error, mistakes. You readjust and you can't learn to lead in these times. It's just, I don't know.
Nobody's ever been here before.
That's cool, but I don't know, you just can't. And the guys I coach, right, or mentor, and I start complaining about their boss. People love that. I'm sure people have complained about me lots of times as well, because I am a very hard on delivery. I'm soft on people, hard on delivery.
Yeah.
And then I say to them, you know what? Just accept. I'm telling you now, your CEO or your manager does not know everything. So rather contribute to the solution. And not complain and be negative. It comes back to your thoughts again. Contribute, because me as a leader, I've really appreciated those people that that actually helps me. That's the other thing is, I think if there was ever time to go the extra mile as an employee, as a business, as anybody, actually, it's now. So I say the time to shine is now. So if you want to go that extra mile, if you want to do something extra, do it now. It's needed. If you want to be a better friend, be the better friend now. If you want to spend more time with people, do it now. So your time to shine is now. Go the extra mile. Exceed on everything. People interact with you, make sure that you've exceeded on the expectations, on the deliverable that was expected from you. They get positive energy from you. Just because I think currently it's crucial.
Yeah.
Lots of retrenchments and lots of companies going down at the moment. The guys that is going the extra milers, they are not retrenched. They are the people that stand.
Yeah.
It is hard to do that and look after your own energy, your own physical and mental health. It's hard, but today I think it's something that's really important. So that's that. And then I think I've covered this. What I've learned: communicate with clarity and direction, and be totally. So with Zoom, people can't see your body language, so you need to be really over communicate. Like, I don't believe in over communication. I think you can't over communicate.
Yes, I agree.
You need to be crystal clear what you want. Yep. It's okay to say it over Zoom call, put it in an email, and put it in a video and send it to your staff, because nobody should not know where they fit in, how they contribute, and what's expected of them. So I think that's the other thing I've learned. Then the 9th thing, I'm almost done.
No, I'm loving this. Don't worry.
And this is something from neuroscience, and I'm totally obsessed with Dr. Joe Dispenza, totally obsessed. But your vibe attracts your tribe. Now I say your
love
vibe
it.
Attracts tribe. So business is all about people, right? And there's technology that's replacing or whatever. But if there's no people, there's actually no business.
Yeah.
And I find now more than ever that we do business with the humans that's selling to us or serving us, rather than the actual company that's delivering that product or service. Because there's multiple companies that can deliver the same product and service, but you actually go with the human.
I agree.
And I've seen more in 2020 actually than I've seen it in other years. So as a leader, the energy you bring into the world or bring to the office, even on Zoom, it's contagious. So if it's not uplifting and it's not positive and it's not like confidence, like just don't engage on that day. If you have a bad day, don't engage, because you need to radiate confidence and courage to make sure the people in your office or your team or your business is doing the same, and then they will radiate that to your customers, the world outside. And then the other thing around energy is, I think I've learned, which is something I've learned in 2020. I was aware of this. I wasn't top of mind, but show empathy for your staff's well-being. Okay, so like I said before, there's no more in-person sessions where you can read energy, pat somebody on the back and say, "Are you okay?" Or just have a cup of coffee with somebody in the pause area and just chat about, I don't know, their dogs, their cats, their babies there. And people love it. People actually love chatting about, what they did yesterday, what they made for supper. It's gone for them. Like for me, I love stories about people, so I like listening to that. Now that's gone. Okay, so
true.
you don't have that. And on Zoom, it's all business. Like, it's do this, has this been done? You check in. So I think be aware and of people's well-being, and then also be aware of their situation at home. I actually realized this when I was working in Singapore with the Philippines. I think I've learned to be empathetic and very realistic. So, like I said, it doesn't work for everybody. And some people, I had Philippines, third world, they are not a wealthy country. They've hardworking people. They've got amazing hardworking people. But I have single mothers of 4. That is the main breadwinner, not for her own family, but for the broader family. It's hard for her to work in lockdown in the day to deliver, but she delivers it. And be okay with that. And then things are not going to be perfect always. So I've been on calls with big clients like Heineken and huge. And I've had, or Toyota, and then I've had somebody in my team struggling with internet at home, And when it goes on, there's roosters in the background, it's dark. But that's the environment they live in. And so accept that it's not going to be perfect. Like,
exactly.
I think being a chartered accountant, we like processes, structure, things must be perfect. And I've learned to let go and just have empathy, understand people's scenarios at home, and then work with that, not against it. It doesn't help you. I mean, it's also hard to train new people in COVID. That's the reality. Like, I didn't want to lose one person because, I mean, it's hard to train online. It's not. So you don't want to onboard people right now. Well, I don't. And if you do, you have to. It's more effort. Like, I have onboarded people during COVID a lot, actually, but it's a lot of effort, energy. You don't want to do that. So anyway, so that's what I'm saying. Your vibe attracts your tribe, and be sure it's a positive. It builds. It doesn't break down. That's something I've seen and heard from friends and other people around me about how people, businesses and leaders and managers. I understand they're tired. I understand it's hard. I understand it's a struggle. I've been there. I know. But you need to be very, very cognizant and very deliberate on what you out to your staff and your teams. And I think the last one that is really important to me is the rituals and routines. So that, for me, something you really need to pay attention to. And I discovered that when I was in lockdown for 2 months in a hotel room, because if I wasn't eating my Grab food or Panda delivery, sitting on my carpet, looking out the window, I was lucky I had a window.
Oh, yes.
Hotels doesn't have. I didn't have a balcony, but I had a big window that looks on like a little park thing. So I would sit there and I'll eat my lunch. So other than eating lunch, taking a shower, I would not break. Like, I would work, like, literally. There is so much work, and you are just now sitting there. It's not like I can quickly go there. So it's something I learned very quickly, because I was a bit miserable in the beginning and lonely, and so I realized that the rituals and the routines that's built into your work day normally, like driving to work, coming back from work, it actually breaks your day. So it's a routine you've got that actually contributes. And humans we like habit, we like routine, we thrive in structure. If you don't go and create that for you at home, it is going to affect your mental well-being, because routines just is good for your mental health. It's just good for you. It's good for your productivity, your mental health. It's just all around good. And what I had to do is, in the beginning, I would just wake up and work in my pajamas, and have my cereal and coffee and just work. And then 1 o'clock, I'm like, oh, I'm still in my pajamas. So, as a CEO, I just, so then one day I just had the realization. I'm like, that ritual is gone. The ritual of having coffee with my colleague is gone. Just chatting to people is gone. Just walking quickly to the bathroom, that's gone. Because you take these mental breaks in your day, which you don't realize until it's not there anymore. Quickly to the canteen to get something to eat. It's like rituals, routines, it's gone. So what I started doing is thinking about ways to bring that into my lockdown days. So, I would wake up, and it's a habit that I had to it didn't come naturally. It's not like every morning I felt, now I'm doing this. No, it's a habit. It's hard. Habits are hard. Change habits, routine, it's hard.
Exactly.
So I made sure every morning I had a morning routine. I woke up, I read, I meditate, I shout. I got dressed as if I'm going to work, makeup,
excellent,
hair, everything. I would work. I would take coffee breaks. Like, if I say I would make a coffee, I would go sit on the carpet in the hotel room, and I had a spot. I had coffee there. I would take lunch. That's something I learned in Asia, is lunch. They do take, and they are very protective of their hour lunch. So in the beginning, as a South African, weird for me, because it's so rough. We cut our desk. I took maybe not an hour, but at least 20 minutes. And it gives you time to think, and it just gives you that little bit of mental breaks. So that's in the day. And the end of the day, I broke my day with like music, dancing in my room. It sounds ridiculous, but it works. Nothing else.
Fabulous.
I was like, and then I would have a glass of wine. That's part of my routine. I actually ordered bubble bath from the UK in lockdown because Singapore doesn't sell bubble baths because they don't have not common.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, I had like I started this thing of attitude of gratitude where you, I just started journaling. I've journaled before, but I was very cognizant to do it every night in lockdown. What am I grateful for? What's going well? You know, because it matters. It does matters. Ritual routines, it matters, and you need it. You really need it. So I think I've said a lot, but yes.
I mean,
I've learned a lot more, but that's the 10 takeaways.
I mean, Lourandi, not only have you shared your learnings, but you've also filled it up. You've stuffed it up with tips and resources for us to take away and be able to, I mean, I feel so inspired now. I want to go into lockdown and just, solve all the world's problems.
No, you don't.
No, I know, I've been there. But no, I'm just illustrating your, I mean, there's so much knowledge and enthusiasm and tips and resources and tangible things that we can take away from these 10 points of just, I mean, they're amazing. I almost want to clip it and also share that separately because it's just, I mean, I didn't expect that, but I am absolutely in awe and I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, it's just, for you've just really summarized why I've started these crucial COVID conversations for that reason, for people sharing their stories, sharing tips and resources for us to not only learn from others' experiences, but also really make it our own and take this as a takeaway and help improve our lives and how we deal with this COVID-19 storm and give us tips and resources to be able to have more resilience and embrace this time. And embrace the change. So wow, that is beautiful. I'm mindful of your time, and I always try and not keep these conversations too long for people to listen. But I do know that you and I are going to do another one because I want to hear more about your resources and your tips. So I feel like there's another one coming, and there should be another one coming because you're super inspiring. And oh yeah. Let's just leave that there. You're very inspiring, and it's a privilege for me to talk to you and to hear these things. And I'm so fortunate to be able to have this platform to be able to share it with more people across the world. So before we end, I want people to be able to find you and find this. I mean, we haven't even talked about your new venture that I want to be more involved with. So I think maybe that's what we do in our next one. We talk about this platform that you've created and we share more tips and resources on that. But where can people find you in closing? Where can they learn more about the work that you do? Where can they get involved? Where can they, and I'll also put it in the launch of the YouTube premiere that people know where to find you. But quickly share with us.
I'm on most social media platforms, obviously LinkedIn. I'm there. As Lourandi Kriel, as myself, and then LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. That's all I do. I just don't have energy for more. And then I've started. It's a passion project. It's a bit of a passion project I started end of last year. Just recognizing and seeing people at work suffering at home, and I'm passionate about people thriving at work because I want to get people engaged. It's good for companies, it's good for countries, it's good for the economy, and it's good for them. It's good to feel you've contributed and you've made an impact as an employee in a company, whether you're the cleaner or whether you're the CEO, it does not matter. So I've started this thing called Thrive the 9 to 5, where I try, and I'll emphasize the try because I've got so much to share, but to put everything together on social platforms takes actually time. So when I have a gap, I share, my thoughts. I share it's my thoughts actually, but quotes, which is my thoughts. When I do coach people, and then after that, and there's something I want to share, I try and share that. I have plans to share more. I want to share my my burnout story, and lots of people have asked me, but again, it comes down to time. But yes, thrive the 9 to 5s, also LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I've started, that I've shared with you, coming back to South Africa, I've started a venture architecting a firm called the Crux. And then I've started a thing called the Crux Cartel, which is a collaboration space for professionals.
I just love that.
It's, I think in 2021, this year, Nick, I think collaboration is so important, and you extract so much value through collaboration. And I think the world, a lot of people is like, they look at their competition and they're like, oh, I want that, or there's enough in the world for everybody. There's literally enough in the world, and I think you just expand that with collaboration. So
I agree.
Yeah, people can connect with me. I don't know, they can ask me questions. Happy to engage.
Wow. And on that note, I think we should end, because it is true. I share the same values. I think there is I just want all of us to exceed, and succeed. And there is enough in the world for all of us. I don't want to win. I just want all of us to succeed. And this is exactly what makes these crucial COVID conversations so relevant, and partnerships and collaborations. And again, this is one of those things that the world will never be the same after this COVID crisis. And that is good, because it's these things that we are now changing in terms of people wanting to work together, knowing that together we are actually better. So on that note, stronger. I want to thank you so much. Yes, we should do that. And my head is almost like we're all in this together, but yes, we're actually stronger together as well, which I absolutely agree. From my side, you are super inspiring. I am ready to conquer the world. I feel like I want to go and write some stuff down now. And but I mean, on a serious note, you are amazing. You are very inspiring. I'm so happy that we've had this chat. I know that there will be more to come, and I know that we've connected, and there will be some super cool stuff happening in the future for us. And thank you so much. Keep on doing what you are doing, and thank you for what you are doing for humanity in terms of your inspiration.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And thank you for the opportunity. I really, really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Lourandi. We'll speak soon. Keep well, hey? Enjoy your day.